Thank you for tuning in to the Life of KG podcast. We are all about helping you guys in the beauty industry. Whether you're starting out in this industry or been in the business for years, we want to motivate you, educate you, and support you to grow. Enjoy the show.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Life of KG. I hope you are all okay and having a successful week. Today I get to interview Jules White, which I'm really excited about because she is just incredible. I was at a speaking event with her a few years ago now, and when it was her turn to speak, well, I was just blown away by her story, everything that she's done. She is an award-winning international sales consultant with over 30 years of business and sales experience. She was also secured investment from Peter Jones in the BBC's Dragon's Den, which we are going to go into. So without further ado, here she is. Jules, thank you so much for coming on the Life of KG. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you for having me, Katie. It's lovely to meet you.
And you. So can you introduce yourself and let everyone know what exactly you do?
Yes. So I always say that I help you to fall in love with sales because sales is a bit of a dirty word for people. So what I do is I work with entrepreneurs and also with small businesses and their teams to help them understand how sales can be all about human conversation. It doesn't have to be this horrible scripted, pushy stuff that none of us like. And so my whole formula is around us connecting as humans and how we can use that when we're selling. And I created something called Live It, Love It, Sell It, which I also made into a book, but it's a methodology, which is what we follow in order to help you to love selling and not dread it and fear it. So yes.
Because everyone does dread selling, don't
they? They do.
They absolutely dread it. So I'm really looking forward to obviously hearing more about that. But first of all, I really would love to hear about your journey in business. I've heard you speak a couple of times now. So I'm always really like, oh my God, I just love your background and you, like, you're so awesome. So I'd love our listeners to be able to hear about what made you get into business? How did it all start?
Yeah, thank you, Katie, as well, for your lovely words. I have been working since I was 16, which is a very long time. I'm 52 now. So it's been a very long career, and 30 odd years of that was in sales. So it was always what I loved to do, and I started really in my dad's shop. He ran the local newsagents, and as a little girl, watched him sell. And that's where I fell in love with it all, because I saw him doing it in this lovely human way, as we've described. And the first opportunity I had to run my own business was actually when my son was born. So my son is now 16 and a half years old, and he was born on New Year's Day. So 2005, New Year's Day, my life changed. And because of that, I didn't want to go back to working in a job for someone. I wanted to be with Sam. So my idea was I would create a business that meant I could do that, and that it would be party plan, because we did a lot of that in those days. We liked to go around and join groups of other women in their homes and buy Tupperware and kitchenware and makeup, but nobody was doing it selling baby products. So there was this big gap for me, and I was like, come on, we could do this with baby products. And so I created my first business, which was called Truly Madly Baby. And that business was the one that I took into Dragon's Den. So that was kind of, I think, a good starting point for my journey as an entrepreneur, which was very exciting. And obviously since then, the story's a long story, but I can fill you in as we chat today, really. But that was where it all started, that passion of working for myself. Yeah.
So obviously you've said about Dragon's Den there. Obviously that must have been such a huge part of your career. What was that experience like?
Yeah, almost one of those happy accidents, as people might talk about, I was 3 months into my business that I've just described. So I got a website, I'd created a catalogue, I'd recruited, I think, about 5 or 6 women like me to go and do parties, and they were all across the country. So I'd started to build this network, which was super exciting. And an advert came up on my computer saying we're looking for applicants for Dragon's Den. So I just filled it in. And I said, this is fun. I'll tell them all about my amazing business. Sent it off. And 2 hours later, I got a call from BBC saying, we've got your application. We love your idea. Can you come tomorrow to BBC Television House? And we'll do a little pitch to camera and we'll have a chat to you and see if we can get you onto the filming. So it wasn't even, a thumbs up at that point. It was just, can you come? So I said, yes. I got my little he was 5 months old by that time. We were in about May time. And I'm thinking, I haven't even thought who's going to look after Sam while I go to London, but I got that sorted. And then within 2 weeks after that, I was actually stood in front of the Dragons filming. So they picked me, but I had 2 weeks literally to turn it all around and prepare. And that's the story. I got investment offers from Theo Paphitis and Peter Jones. They were bidding against each other for the business, which was so exciting. And then I obviously shook hands with Peter on the filming and did the deal with him. 6 months later, we actually were on the television. So it takes quite a long time and you don't get to really meet Peter as such. I met him twice, very briefly. I was in charge with his people. These people were in charge of me. And the contracts came through and my solicitor said, please don't sign. So that was kind of the end of the Dragons journey in that respect. But then I had another investor come forward, having seen me on the television. So I continued to grow that business for 3 years and I grew it to £1 million business with 432 consultants across the country doing parties.
Wow, that's absolutely incredible. So why did your solicitor say not to sign?
So there was a couple of things in the contract that just weren't really that good for me in my favour. And they were around things like wages, being able to take any salary and how I could take that salary, and the fact that the money wasn't actually an investment, it was a loan that I had to pay back. So there was just bits and bobs in it that just didn't feel like it was a great deal at the end of the day. And you have to balance that with, I would have had Peter Jones' name behind me. So of course there would have been aspects of that which would have been amazing. But I also had to live. I had to survive and put food on the table. And the contract just didn't allow me to go forward with it. So we did a no. And as I say, I got another investor in. And actually after 3 years, we had built the business to such a point where it was actually super successful, but we hadn't put the foundations in place to actually really support that business the way it needed supporting. You know, this is one of those things in business, when you grow really quickly, there's a danger in that. And that was one of our downfalls. And the investor I had wanted 75% of the business in order to invest more money, which is what we needed. So unfortunately, we didn't go forward with that business anymore, and she closed it down and I lost everything. So it was a really sad end to what had been an amazing journey. Now that's in my TEDx talk. So if anyone ever wants to catch up on that, you can kind of get the lowdown on that in there. So.
Oh, that's really, really interesting then. So anyone listening, definitely, I've had the version of this story from one of your talks before, but everyone definitely head over to that and listen, because it is incredible. But for anyone that is interested in getting investment or growing their business, would you recommend it with what you've gone through? Would you not? Like, what would you say?
It's hard, isn't it? Because I'm obviously in that place where it was incredibly painful, my experience, really. It was like a grief, you know, because it was so attached to my son and how I started the business and where it all came from. And losing everything was also very difficult. But I think you need to look at your business and decide what you really want from it. And if you're looking for investment, it must be because you have quite an ambitious growth decision to make, because that would be one of the reasons to get an investor on board, to grow a business such that it may well then be something to sell in the future. Sometimes you can't do that on your own and organically. So I think it depends on your business and your ambition, your aspirations. Why are you in business? What's the why? This is the big question, isn't it, that you hear people asking. And if you really need some sort of support investment wise to do what you want to do, then yes, you should look for investors, but you need to do due diligence. You need to think about the people you're taking on as your investors. And I think the biggest advice really to anyone is it's a two-way thing, investment. It isn't just someone giving you money so you're at the mercy of them. It has to work for both parties. So I think that's a really, really key piece of advice for anyone.
Yeah, definitely. Really, really interesting. It's something that I've never actually looked into too much. I remember when I first started my business 12 years ago now, and I really wanted to grow. I wanted to go into franchising, which I did do without investment, but I wanted to go into franchising. I thought I could only do it with an investor because we needed X amount of funds. But when I realized actually then it's not solely mine, is it? There's other people that are involved and other people that have a say so. And I was just like, I just wasn't 100% sure. So I decided not to go down that route in the end. It is really interesting when I guess you think, well, I want this, this, and this, or your vision is so big. You think you can only get there with the investment and having an investor behind you.
Yeah, there are other ways to raise money. It doesn't have to just be that it's a person who is investing their money. There's lots of options today. So I think you're right in making the point about, the different ways that you can actually raise investment money. So remember, it doesn't just have to be a person with a big bank balance. But equally, if it is about having a person on board, it's not just the money. Sometimes it's the experience they bring to the pot, and sometimes that's experience you don't have. So there's value in that too. It's not just a financial piece. It's looking at the whole picture of that person, what they want from it, what their ambition is, their values, things like that. Are you aligned in your values? Because that's quite a big thing as well. So there's loads to think about, Katie, loads. But I think what I love about what you just said is that you can grow organically on your own, because it is possible, and you don't have to have somebody investing. It just takes that bit longer sometimes for you to do it.
For sure, definitely.
Yeah.
So going back to sales, obviously your mission, which I read, is to untrain anyone who has been trained to sell. I find extremely interesting. Tell me more.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? I think it's because in my career, I was probably trained in about 20 different methods of how you sell. And they were all very prescriptive, and they were all quite staged, steps of the sale, as you've heard me say before. I think the thing about all of this is I think what we do is we lose who we are when we're trained too badly. And a lot of sales training takes the you out of everything. So it makes you quite robotic, quite anonymous, and quite structured. And part of that means you can't connect as humans like you can connect as humans. When I talk about untraining everyone who's been trained, I almost want to strip back to you from when you were young. When we were children, we were the best salespeople in the world, because we have all of the life skills that you need in order to be able to sell. So the ability to ask great questions, the ability to listen, the ability to be curious and actually dig deeper when you're having conversations. Those are amazing sales skills. That's how I train sales, in that very natural way. So when I talk about untraining people, it's because a lot of people have been trained how to sell, in that robotic way. And I want to take all that away. Let's start again. Let's rewind and use all your wonderful assets you already have, which are actually your greatest asset is you.
So. Definitely. Where can people go to obviously get that training from you?
Yeah, so I've got a website. So and everything I do is live it, love it, sell it. So if you remember that, you'll just find me. So I've got things like a podcast, I've got my website, I've got a fabulous group on Facebook, which is called the Sales Hub. So all of those places are places to come and join me, and then you can figure out what you want from me. I think that that's really important. It's not just about you have to buy it this way. I've got a book, so obviously I wrote the book, so you could start with that. I've got the Facebook group, I've got group coaching courses, I've got one-to-one coaching, I've also got a membership. So there's lots of ways that you can engage with the way I do my work, which is absolutely delightful to deliver and to suit everybody. So that's cool. Yeah.
What would you say would be, we deal with a lot of the beauty industry,
yes,
so beauty and hair, and I'd say a lot of people, it is ingrained in them to be, I don't like selling, I can't sell. You hear that all the time, or they don't even try because they're so scared of it. Have you got any tips off the cuff of what you could give the therapists or the salon owners out there to help them with this?
Yeah, I think your industry is fascinating, because I think you're all in a really, really what's the best word for me to use? You're in a big advantageous position because of the work you do. You have clients come in and it is like either a therapy session, because they can't wait to see you to tell you all of their woes or what's happening in their lives, or you're like the best friends that they know doesn't know all their other best friends, so you have this amazing ability doing what you do to have that human connection with your clients. Okay, I know not everyone's the same in terms of your clients, but you will have this lovely relationship with them like not every salesperson gets. Think of that relationship as the fact that anything you then recommend to them is helping them. So you're not selling to them, you're saying these would be great for you because I know you and we've worked together for some time and I know your skin, or I know how your hair is, so the reason I'd recommend this is because I know you and I know these will help you. That is the place to come from when you're selling, that place of helping. And I think you just have this real advantage because your clients already love you. They love coming to see you. That little bit of time, it's a treat. It's absolutely a treat. I am someone who goes to the hairdresser. I am someone who goes and has facials and beauty treatments. So I totally am that client. And if my therapist said, Jules, you should try this on your skin because I see it's a bit dry here or whatever, I'm going to go, yes, because I trust them, because that's the relationship we've formed. So I hope that's helpful. Don't think of it as you've got to sell this product. Think of it how that product is going to help your client.
Definitely. The trust is already there, especially when you're seeing the client every 2 weeks or once a month. And a lot of the time they want to know what's come out. They want to know what's new, what is good for their skin, what is good for their hair.
Exactly.
Because if you're not offering it, they're just going to go somewhere else and pick up something off the shelf anyway and not know anything about that product.
Exactly. And it might not be the right product for them. And you'll know what's right for them because you'll have that deeper relationship with them. So
yeah, and I always say to the salons I look after, if you're not offering that retail or you're not suggesting, then you're actually doing the client a disservice.
Exactly.
Because you're not following through, which what's going to help them long term, or actually their treatment last.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah,
very, very interesting.
Yeah.
What's next for you then, Jules? Anything in the pipeline?
What's next? Well, I think the big thing is my membership, because that started back in September. So just after we'd had the long summer lockdown, I got busier than ever, which was such a surprise. I lost about £25,000 when COVID hit last year, which was a shock because I was doing speaking events and workshops, face-to-face work. So the bottom fell out of my business. I took it all online, which was brilliant. And I was incredibly lucky. So I've had one of my really best years now. My year ends August. It's been amazing.
Really?
But within that, I started the membership. And I think for me to reach the most people in the best way is the membership. So that's the big thing now that I'm focusing on and building. I'm writing a second book, but I'm just doing that at my pace because I've been so busy, which has really been fun. But the membership's the big thing because that's what I want to really grow and develop. So, yeah.
Do you want to tell us a bit about the membership in case they're interested?
Yes, well, it's lovely, and of course, lots of memberships are similar in that they'll give you perhaps an element of learning. So there's in my membership, there's like video lessons, so you can just tap into them whenever you want, and they're not long; they're 10-15 minute type videos. So that's great little short bursts of learning. We've also got, so what I decided to do, because I told you the story about my dad at the beginning. I thought if I do a membership, I need to have a theme, and it has to be interesting, because otherwise I think people will think it's the same as any other. So it's got a high street theme, and everything's around shops, because my dad had the newsagents. So the sweet shop is where you do the learning, because that's got pick and mix. So you can pick and mix what lessons you learn. I've got the coffee shop, which is where we all meet. So that's like a networking hub. We've got the box office where you book the live events. We do a live event every week, and that's guest experts, me doing Q&A, and the members doing their own, what I call an open mic, which is where they tell you all about who they are. And then additional shops I've put in are a music shop, which has music downloads in, a bookshop, also a stationery shop, so that it can download inspirational pieces for your Instagram and such. And then the final one is the bank. So we have a bank on our high street, because everything you do in the membership, you earn points, and the points can be used to buy whatever you want in the catalogue. So it's this really lovely community of people who are running their own businesses, who support each other amazingly, but also the learning element of it is just wonderful, because you're learning not just sales, but beyond that, the business stuff from the guest experts. So it's super. I love it.
That sounds so fun. I love how you planned all of that. That's awesome. Can people find that on your website then?
Yeah, so if you go on the website, there's kind of the synopsis, the description, a bit like I've just given you, of all the different shops and everything. But the other thing that I do is I call it a walk down the high street. So you can come for a walk down the high street with me, and I do it via a Zoom call. And basically, I'll just share my screen with you and show you the membership, so you get to see behind the scenes before you buy. And it's a monthly subscription, so you can come in for as long as you like. Hopefully you'll stay, but it's just you pay each month for what you get. So
you still got that high street feel, even though you're not exactly on the high street. I love that. That's so good. So
thank you.
With your speaking, just to finish off, are you going to go back to speaking? Do you think it will pick up? Do you think it's going to all be online now? The whole world's just changed, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has changed a lot. I think we're going to see a hybrid type of version of a lot of things, really. The way we work, the way we do speaking. I mean, I did virtual speaking through the lockdown, which was great to be able to still speak. But there's nothing like being in the room with people. You know that, Katie, you know. Did we meet a fantastic hairdresser? Is that where I saw you?
We met at an event in Milton Keynes.
Oh, was it?
Called now, yeah.
Yeah. But I think the big thing for me is that it will be hybrid, I think, for sure. But the big thing is that we do have some live events coming on, because it's important we're in a room together. It really still is. And I've got one in September, so I've got everything crossed that I'll be back on stage in September. So
I've got you in September too, and I'm like, I pray they go ahead. Like everyone's aiming for September to get in person.
Yeah. So I think it'll be a mix, but I do hope that I still get the live events mixed in, because it really is lovely meeting people and being live at events. Most definitely.
Definitely, and even just that travel and getting out and meeting people is. Even though you can speak to so many people across Zoom, doing everything from home or the office can be so lonely, can't it?
It is, yeah, it's very lonely. And I think that's where the membership's also a big advantage, is that although you don't necessarily see people physically, you're in a community. And I think we just need that as humans, don't we?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So if people want to connect with you, we're going to say the website.
I've also got a Linktree link, which has got all of my links on, so I can pass that on to you if you've got anywhere you can put that in the notes or anything. So of course use that. But yeah, I've got a podcast and I've got my book, but everything is on the website actually. So all my blogs as well, if you fancy reading some blogs and stuff around my way of selling, my human way of selling.
definitely. Jules, thanks for coming on and giving up your time. It's been a complete honour to have you on the show and talk to me a bit more. So thank you very much.
Oh, it's lovely of you to ask me. I've really enjoyed it, Katie. Thank you so much, darling.
If you love this episode, please share and tag us on social media at KG Salon.
I always follow them.
If you're a salon owner and would like to join our membership program, coffee, cake, and chat, get in touch for a space. Be around a like-minded tribe. Have 400 pounds worth of mentoring a month. And push yourself to the next level.
I love being a part of such a great community.
Until next time, have an amazing, successful week.